Catch it early. Help us teach kids about cancer symptoms through Ultimate Frisbee clinics. Join us and speak up.
Okay, we are now covering Switzerland versus USA. And see an early turn there. Switzerland not able to put in their starting offensive point. Payne picks up, swings to the middle, swings to the far side.
Hello everyone, so Payne across to Chastain, Cardenas stuck on this near sideline, gets it back to Payne. Payne, Chastain, little flip, and the goal! I can't see a number, which is unfortunate. It's Kayla Jorgensen, thank you very much, with the goal there for the first goal, 1-0 USA.
So just a series of great little backhand breaks there to get the U.S. on the board. As Felix mentioned, this is the quarterfinal round of the World Ultimate Championships. We're bringing them live to you from Field 4. A little bit of a location change up for us as we experienced torrential rain out on the Watford football complex last night. The only two fields that are going to be in use for the entire day are the pitch we're on, pitch 4 and pitch 5, which you can see behind us. And we're going to be bringing you coverage from here all day. It's going to be a little bit on the fly, but it's going to be great. It's going to be fun. This is going to be a really intense matchup. We haven't yet seen Team USA in the women's division on our stream, although we got to watch them a bit yesterday, so we're excited to bring you coverage of this game as the Swiss team gets a first look at their O-line.
Ranko. To Delandres, get caught up a little bit there by Ansu. Delandres into the middle. Instantly swings to 30. Windler now on this near sideline. A little bit pinned in. Struggling to find a reset. Oh, and a pick called. I think just before the throw, so we'll go back. Players discussing when the call was made.
As we talk about the pick call, I think one matchup for you to look at this point and hopefully later in the game is going to be O.P. Payne on number 24, Constance Rancourt for the Swiss team. She really, the offense moves through her, kind of a central handler, moves the disc well, and O.P. Payne, one of Team USA's most athletic and dynamic defenders, she's going to be trying to shut her down for the entirety of this game. So keep your eyes out on the screen for that matchup.
And it looks like the game advisor, Ruben Berg, got involved there, and his advice was that the disc was to come back. And now both players bring in the max stall of 6. And we're back in. Instantly swinging. Number 22, Lemon straight across to Galland. Galland on the fakes a bunch. Oh, and hits that inside to Rancourt, who goes straight across the field for the goal. To number 40, number 67, sorry, Natalia Baumann. And Switzerland under a lot of pressure there. What do you think about that?
I think they did well to find a little disc over the top, caught the American defender trailing a little bit. You know, Swiss is a tall team. They love to use their height going deep, able to find it in that crossfield shot in the end zone. Now you, David Price, who I don't know if we've announced who we are, David Price, Megan Multany, and Felix Shardlow. David, you got to see them in the finals of Windmill just a few weeks ago, squaring off against the German squad. What were your impressions from them from that game?
I think in particular in that game, they struggled a bit due to knowing the Germans and the Germans knowing them too much. They weren't able to quite play the game that they wanted to play. And I think because of the sheer number of players in the German team and the depth of that German team. They just ran out of legs by the end of the game. But they do have a very similar style to the Germans, very solid and efficient offense, looking to reset early. But if they have a deep shot, they will take it. But against this American team, I think they might struggle to find those sort of options. So America now on offense, looking deep almost immediately. And a great goal there for number 7, Cami Groom.
America there threatening the huck just before the throw to the person that threw the huck. So that threat meaning that the defenders have to commit to try and stop that player cutting deep, or at least respect that deep cut. And then they faked it, so then the player came under, free under, got the disc, and then another huck opportunity, and this time they took it. So America showing they've got it, both under and deep options available to them.
So I think the play call there was to get the disc out to Alex Snyder and looking for Georgia Boscher deep right away off of Snyder's powerful flick. And the Swiss come down with that backhand. They do a nice job to adjust, as Felix mentioned, and Boscher with that stepping out for that great IO backhand sets up the little break deep for Cami Groom, who has tremendous closing speed. Nice hold for USA.
Something I noticed with the Switzerland offense last point, the Americans got very strong athleticism, very speedy. Switzerland were making very fast passes, and they were holding on to them with clap catches on the trailing edge. Just going so fast, they would clap, and the disc would almost be between their hands first. But if they're able to keep that up, punishing the Americans by getting fast passes across, then it could work out for them.
So Switzerland now looking for their next hold. We'll see a bit of a poachy look from the Americans, and they're forcing middle. The disc now forced into the middle straight to Titcomb. Titcomb to Cradley. Back to Titcomb. Now at halfway. Titcomb across to Slattery. Oh, and a lovely bid from Nazarov there, keeping that disc off the floor. Now near the end zone with Sadler. Sadler fakes and breaks. Oh, and gets it just over a receiver. I thought that was definitely going for goal, but just a bit of a miscue and a misexecuted throw.
Sadler is a really, really incredible defender for this USA squad. She's got incredible speed, great positioning, huge layouts. But I think in that situation, with the Swiss defender closing, you want to take a better option, find a handler, reset, and try to score when you have a little more space to work with in the end zone. That was a tight window, and they don't connect.
Niederhauser throwing it straight back to Walker. Nazarov. Some huge fakes. Eventually takes her reset to Titcomb, who continues. Oh, and a call has been made on the play. Potentially a contested stall out. Apologies if you hear me chewing. We've just got our lunch and we're trying to shovel in food. It's going to be a very busy day here on fields 4 and 5. As you'll have seen, hopefully through either the show game or WUFDF, the next 4, maybe 5 rounds will be held on these 2 fields to try and get through all the quarterfinals. I haven't got the exact games here yet, but make sure to check out any official announcements for that. Nazarov instantly breaking on the inside. Gets it to Cradley. Cradley again breaking the force. High and round. It's a goal there for number 44, Maggie Rudin.
Great patient by America's D-line there. As you said, Nazarov starting that off immediately with the flick break. I love that choice. She'd just thrown the backhand around when that travel got called. Her defender is expecting a similar reset, maybe sneaks around a little bit, and just super comfortable with that throw. Opens everything up for them. They're ahead of the Swiss right now. Our scoreboard says 2-1, but we believe it is 3-1. Hopefully our scoreboard on the screen is showing the accurate. Yes, now they changed it. Awesome.
So even just in these first few points, the USA women's team showing that they've got all the throws, they've got all the options. They're able to take them. They can break the force inside, they can break it around. They haven't thrown any big hucks yet, but we know they're very strong at that. They've done like a half pitch one. So from Switzerland here, they've got to be figuring out if there are any weaknesses in USA, how they can use that to their advantage. So far, USA looking very, very solid, able to do all the throws.
So Switzerland have middled the disc, taking on and they had it was just a bit too far there for the receiver, which was Hannah Murray, unable to connect with her handler. So now USA picking up with Claire Chastain. Chastain, open side to Cardenas. Cardenas to Katie Forth. Katie Forth on the far sideline. Centres to Chastain. Chastain taking her time. And a lovely around break, giving a lot of width to the play. But foul has been called in the stack. Tanel just trying to make sure she knows what's going on and whether it affected her cut and play. Looks like the USA stack is slightly offset, giving them a very nice open side at the moment, break side at the moment. This stays with Tanel. Tanel inside break to Forth, and a lovely play there, using that break side just as I mentioned. 4-1 to USA.
So I think Switzerland struggle a little bit on offense. The athleticism of the Americans, meaning the throwing windows are very small, so the passes having to be fast and accurate. Very small margin for error. And Switzerland managed once to string a few of them together, but the opportunities for mistakes are high with the USA defense here.
So we've now gotten to see a couple points out of this Team USA. For those of you familiar with the women's game in America, you're going to notice that a lot of the systems this team is running come from the club team Fury. The dominant streak, 7 national titles in a row. This team is being coached by longtime Fury coach Maddie Sang. And so that's where a lot of that is coming from. In addition to a number of Fury players being on this roster, we see 2 of them out on the line right now in Kayla Jurgensen and Claire Desmond. So that force middle defense, that huge, well-spaced horizontal stack on offense, those are all signatures of the Fury system, and we can expect to see a lot more of that today and throughout this tournament.
So Switzerland still looking for this elusive hold. 17 goes deep. Hauser up high. And perfectly boxed by Schenk for the goal. That's the first time I think we've seen Switzerland really take on that deep option, and even under pressure there, very well read by Schenk. 4-2.
And it wasn't a perfect throw. I think the receiver was a little too deep. Discus trailing away. Amber Sinekrop, who's the defender there, has great closing speed. Tries to make a play on the disc, but lovely job by the Swiss player. Like you said, using 2 arms, using 2 hands, getting that body around. If Sinekrop's going to make a play, she's going to have to go through her. Ops not, and Swiss have that hold, as you mentioned. I think Felix has some thoughts about that play as well.
Yeah, the throw died to an unexpected side, and I think if the throw had been the kind of shape that maybe the thrower wanted, then America would have actually had a better bid on that. So I wouldn't say that tactically there's been any success there for Switzerland, but they do have a point on the board, and points are the important thing. Both teams onside for that pull.
So Nazaroff to Boscher. Boscher takes on a huge inside flick and a goal for Jenny Fay. That's probably the first huck we've seen from the USA, particularly from their own half. Very well placed into their own third as well, which is not the most typical huck you'll see, but very well placed and very well taken by Fay.
Georgia Boscher currently plays in Madison, but was a longtime member of those Fury teams that we mentioned a short while ago. Fay actually a handler in her club career, but has moved into a cutting downfield position with this Team USA. She's got great field sense. Boscher has big throws, both the backhand and the forehand. That was really well dialed, really well calibrated. I think we've seen Georgia Boscher at times in bigger games be a little over-aggressive with shots. You know, some people have heard the expression, you live or die by the Boscher. But there, everything looking like it's running on all cylinders. Great, easy hold, and the Swiss really failing to apply any pressure early on in this game.
Just hearing on the sideline here, the game advisor has told Switzerland they're offside on both offense and defense. So Swiss was reminding each other of the rules. We'll see that improve for the rest of the game.
USA pulling out off the field. Giving Switzerland the chance to start from their brick mark. Claudia Streller picking up. Streller is a stalwart Swiss player. We've seen her a lot on the European scene. Oh, and she doesn't quite look at her reset properly and throws it away. America look to strike quickly with Snyder. Snyder on the disc. Gets a lovely bit of gain with number 23. Sadler around to Slattery. Slattery gets it across. Mira Walker. Oh, and the laying Tickham can't quite keep her mitts on the disc, giving Switzerland another chance to hold. Schneider to Stretcher. Meyer into the middle. Guttinger. Oh, and again another misexecuted reset. And Switzerland lose yards now to Team USA, who are knocking on the door. Tickham in this near side corner. Doesn't like what she sees in the end zone. Goes back though. And gets that tight little disc to Schneider. Crayley, apologies.
So USA opting for the isolation there in the end zone. One player in front. Could be again relying on their athleticism. That player is going to have enough time to be able to get free, create enough space for the thrower to hit. And it was a tight gap. If the Swiss player had perhaps read that throw is coming and laid out, it's a risk, but then they might have had a chance to get the hand to the disc. We saw USA turnover there. That was on an inside-out break. So possibly Switzerland will be looking for any kind of weakness, and maybe then they'll get the force more around to open up that inside-out channel a little bit more, bait those throws a little, hope that is a recurring theme in the USA offense, that they might turn over on the inside-out breaks. That's all that Swiss really have got to look at right now. USA looking very, very strong on their offense.
So we saw Alex Snyder out on that D-line. We saw her on the O-line previously, along with a lot of those other players, including Katie Crayley and Rory Titcomb. So for those of you at home wondering whether or not the Team USA is playing a O-line or a D-line, there, as I mentioned before, heavy on the Fury system, so they actually run what is called pods. They have a line that they play. It's not even just a line, it's a number of players that they get a lot of reps with. And because these women are so talented, they're at such an elite level, it doesn't really matter whether they're playing offense or defense. What really matters is finding the chemistry, because this is a true all-star team. There are a number of Fury members on this team, but there are also women from nearly every other club team at the highest level in the U.S. So that pod system allowing them to find some quick chemistry as they make this campaign towards gold at Worlds.
So I believe that was a USA timeout. They've just about got to the end of it now, where the current score here is 6-2 to USA. Half will be at 8. I'm really hoping that Switzerland can find a little bit of form, cut out the errors, and get back in this game. They'll start now on offense, looking for yet again another hold. On the pitch 5 game, we have Canada versus Germany. Russia. Can't quite read. I'm not sure of the score at the moment, but if we can get an update to you, we will. They've only just started, I've been told.
Colombia just beat Germany.
So Hauser, far sideline, takes on a huck. It's 2-on-1, but it looks like the line was taken there by 35. Sarah Ancio doing a great job getting the inside line and getting the disc moving as well. Now we have the disc with Griffiths. Griffiths to Desmond. Desmond fakes. Goes into the middle. Sinecrope. And a lovely little hammer there to fourth, breaking the defense and getting that into the end zone for Desmond.
So that's Sarah Ancio getting it done on both sides of the disc. First we see her come up and elevate among two Swiss players for the USD, and then throwing that hammer to open things up for the US break. One thing about Sarah Ancio, she's actually the only woman on this USA team who plays in the mixed division. In the US, she plays for the reigning champs Dragon Thrust, and she's actually very new to Ultimate Frisbee. Only starting 3 or 4 years ago, but she's an incredible athlete and she loves that hammer. She actually favors it to her forehand. Nice pinpoint throw there, really allowing the US to open up this lead by 5, looking for just 1 point to take this quick and early half.
A showcase here from America of both their defensive variations and abilities, and the offensive as well, able to take all the options that Swiss giving them. That time, player in space on the break side, hammer goes over, Katie Forth catching. Katie Forth in America now after being in the UK back in the 2000s, being one of the driving forces in Bliss, who were the dominating women's team for many years before Iceni came onto the scene.
Rancor. And yet again, another Swiss misexecution or miscommunication, unable to string together more than 5 passes and giving USA another chance. Chastain. Oh, and Tannell with a lovely offense-saving bid. USA a little bit deep, so Tannell looking to reset, gets it to Chastain. Chastain swings it straight across to Cardenas, who goes straight back to Chastain in a power position on this near sideline. Chastain middles with the lovely around break. In the middle now with Kawhi. Kawhi, a big gainer to Cardenas, almost unmarked. Cardenas doesn't like anything in the end zone. Wants a reset. Fakes the reset. She's got nothing. And eventually Chastain saves her with a corner goal, making it look very easy on offense. The score here, I believe, is 8-2, and that'll be the half.
And the US scoring on a high stall count, just open side cut to that cone there, but you could hear the sidelines yelling paddle, 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 which is their call for get the disc off the sideline, and unable to do so. So they get that point to take them into half, but they're going to be a little bit unhappy with the manner in which they did that. As they move further in this tournament, they're going to be able to need to use the full width of the field, and they're not always going to be able to just use their speed, though they will sometimes, but not always, for the goal.
So the Swiss heads maybe a little down in the half with the 6-point deficit, but the last thing they saw in the half was a player laying out for a bit on defense. So that might be lingering in their minds. And when a teammate does that, it kind of sets the bar. You know, I'm willing to put my body on the line. So maybe all the rest of them are now thinking, yeah, I can go for the layouts as well on D.
So that's the half here. Well, I think the halves will remain at 7 minutes. So we'll have a short break, and we'll come back to you with the second half of this women's division quarter-final matchup between Switzerland and USA.
Casper, we like. Casper, we good to go?
Cool. Welcome back to our coverage here of the World Flying Disc Federation World Ultimate Championships here in London, proudly brought to you by VC Ultimate and Eric. The matchup we have here is Switzerland versus USA Women's in this quarterfinal game. I'm David Price here with Megan Molteni and Felix Shardlow. The score is 8-2 and USA now on offense. Opie Payne getting across to Chastain. Looks like the Swiss have come out with a 3-2-2 zone look. I think it's man upfield actually with an arrowhead. Chastain now moving the disc back and forth between her, Payne, and Sinecrope. Oh, just overthrows Chastain, and that's the first real mistake we've seen from Team USA.
So the Swiss tactic there of just forcing the Americans to have to take multiple passes pays off. Percentage game.
De Pietro, the little handler for the Swiss, who did a fantastic job in the windmill final, gets it back into play. Now in the middle with 12. Rower resets back to Baumann. Baumann to Windler. Oh, and a huge, but that's probably misplaced. I hope he's paying at least 2 feet taller than De Pietro. Chastain sends it deep. And Maggie Rudin reads it well, brings it down. Another break for Team USA, 9-2.
So despite that early mistake from the Americans, the high pressure that they are applying, especially on the handler resets, we see Lauren Sadler and Opie Payne taking those defensive matchups, forcing them to put up just a high stall throw to space. Opie Payne easily running that down in a few quick passes later. The Americans have a hold. That was Amber Sinecrope with that little throwaway to the sideline. You actually see her in a cast. She had a huge layout yesterday in their crossover game against Colombia, and we're not exactly sure which bone is broken, but she is playing with the cast on, not willing to sit out this game on the sidelines, and she'll continue to contribute for this USA team, maybe having to recalibrate things as one arm is a little heavier than it used to be.
So in that last point, we saw Nadia Di Pietro being marked by Opie Payne. Nadia maybe quite short, but she's a very formidable handler. So USA recognized that, didn't underestimate her, put Opie Payne, one of the stronger USA defenders, marking her, and that's what got the turnover.
Switzerland now getting a bit more time on the disc here. Hopefully they can get a bit, that can get their confidence up a bit. Now the disc with Meyer. Meyer looking upfield, well now wants to reset. Schneider to Lobel. Lobel doesn't like what she sees, but now she takes on a deep shot. But the number 31, Koshlin, picking that off the hands of the USA defender. Streller with a lovely put around the defenders to Ullmann, and the Swiss finally on the board after many points being broken by the USA. Now with their third point, 9-3 USA. Hello. No, you turned it back on again. You turned it back on before the half. Yeah, but we turned it on when we came into half.
Yeah, so then audio came back on.
Oh, I got you. All the sound was on.
Yeah.
So when we turned it on, it was on, right?
Yeah. So we just turned it on to leave it. During halftime, we switched it off, so there was no sound.
That's what we did. It's alright.
It's alright. It doesn't matter.
So that's the only thing that Rob.
There's no audio going or anything.
That's fine.
Here we go,
Lack of sound being 1 point. Now for the first time in a while, we see the Swiss D-line. And let's see if they can slow down this USA O-line. Schneider instantly gets the ball rolling to Slattery. Slattery doesn't have many options upfield, but Schneider still there, gets the reset. Alex Schneider breaks. Switzerland doing a good job of slowing down the Americans upfield, but eventually Titcombe gets free. Titcombe down the line to Slattery. Slattery, lots of fakes, but not many options. Oh, and luckily Alex Schneider's there for the swing pass. Instant break, and a goal for Calise Cardenas.
And we hear, as the disc goes up, Maddie Sang, coach of the USA team on the sideline, say, "I love scoring on that side." That's coming off of them earlier at the end of the first half, not being able to use the whole width of the field. And granted, there was a little bit of a miscommunication there in the handler set, but Alex Snyder heads up, grabs the disc, and then a huge upfield gainer to a completely open Cardenas, gives USA a hold, and they go up 10-3.
So Switzerland playing quite good defense, able to get the stall high twice against the American offense, stopped their flow a couple of times, and the USA then had to look to engage their resets, and then they took a few seconds to get free. Swiss opting for a face marking reset mark, but the Americans being comfortable just putting the disc out to space, catching it, passing and running immediately to get another pass down the line, swinging this across the field to score on the far side. Textbook.
Looks like the USA pulled out basically the same line again for that point. We see Schneider, Titcombe back out again. Maybe they're just mixing up their lines a bit and trying to just see what they can get from this game. Working in the, as Megan mentioned earlier, Team USA using the pod system, and this pod now out for a couple, probably trying to push themselves now and get as much from this game as they possibly can. But Switzerland doing a good job here of keeping the disc. Currently with number 4, Grenischer. Grenischer centers to Wiedeker. Wiedeker swings it across to Murray. Murray to Lobel. Lobel taking that deep shot again. Will she get the Mac? Not this time. Titcombe reads it well. Gets this back in USA hands. Straight to Nazaroff. Stationary. Open side to Hoffman. Hoffman takes the deep shot. Desmond on the door. An easy lead pass for Sarah Griffiths. Riot Star taking them up 11-3.
The Americans so dangerous when you give them that full field to work with. The speed of Claire Desmond to chase it down, and Sarah Surge Griffith trailing the play doesn't give the Swiss defenders a chance to get set, force the backfield throw. They're able to just flow into the end zone, taking the biggest lead of the game, up 8 here in the second half.
Switzerland offense there, getting into a bit of flow, showing how they managed to get into the top 8 of this World Championship tournament with some safe passes and well-timed deep shot from the handler. The receivers were a little too deep at the beginning when that throw got thrown, which meant there was 2 USA defenders with a bid and the disc came short. When the USA team got it, their deep throw came with the receiver starting very close to the disc, so the disc was able to get out in front and wait for the receiver to then run it down. Much higher percentage deep shot, but Switzerland getting some flow. Hopefully they'll be able to get the spacing of the deep receivers sorted for this next point.
And as Felix says now, we want Switzerland to have a hold, so Di Pietro centers to Lemon. Lemon gets it across to Baumann. Baumann now under a lot of pressure. Oh, and there was no eye contact there. She just threw it over the shoulder, wasn't quite thinking about it. Nazaroff to Boscher. Boscher to Payne. Payne isolated, but Nazaroff, time, space, and goal for Anna Nazaroff.
So the Swiss not having perhaps the game that they wanted to have here in quarterfinals, but they did have a strong run into this tournament. As he said, it's not an easy tournament to make the top 8. They did finish 3rd in their pool, defeating Great Britain, Denmark, and Austria with convincing wins, and made their way through the crossovers. You know, as we brought games from earlier in the week during pool play, we kept saying these games don't matter necessarily, but I think here we see that the Swiss, if they had done a little better in pool play, if they hadn't dropped a game to Germany, if they had had a stronger finish against Canada, could have a different matchup here in quarterfinals, instead having to take on the favorite, Team USA, which it seems like at this point is going to result in their early exit from the tournament. But sometimes that's the way it goes. So the Swiss coming out of the timeout that they called, probably looking to regroup as the Americans pull within 3 here. And if you're just joining us, you'll notice that things are a little different here today. We've got 1 microphone on the pitch for all our sound. We've got 1 camera, but we're happy to be able to have had that set up at all, as things were a real rush this morning, finding out that the fields were going to be closed, games canceled, then rescheduled. And David, actually, what you missed not staying at our campus was we also woke up to a fire alarm this morning. So not exactly the lion we'd hoped for, but we're glad to be out here bringing you coverage from this women's quarterfinal. It's Kayla Jurgensen with the pole for the USA.
Yeah, Kayla! Just wide, Kayla, just wide, just wide. That's it, there. Yeah, Butters! Come on. There's 2 here, Butters. There's 1 behind you, drop, Butters, drop.
So Nadia Di Pietro centered it to Hauser. Hauser across the field, gets it back. It's a very tight cup from the Americans, with only 3 upfield players playing looks like a junkie zone. And there's that cross shot that they want, but well taken by the Swiss player. Oh, but then the continuation, not quite what they want, and Griffiths reads it perfectly. Ooh. But the throw there to George Boscher, a bit tight and a bit too close to the Swiss defender. She's just limping off now. She'll be okay.
It's a very good defense there from Switzerland. Predicting the play in a fraction of a second, reacting fast, getting your hands out, getting that disc as the USA player is coming in very aggressively. A collision of knees, it looked like.
Yeah, we just had Georgia Boscher come past us. She seems like she just knocked knees. She should be fine, I hope. But now Switzerland, having made some ground now. 36, Lendenman. A bit stuck, but gets her reset out. Oh, very close. But 23, Di Pietro makes sure. Swings across. So Lendenman back to Lobel. Niederhauser. Oh, but throws it straight into Opie Payne's path. And that's one player you definitely don't want to be throwing near in any way, shape or form. Opie gets it into the middle. Across to Faye. Faye continues the throw to Desmond. Desmond to Griffiths. Griffiths looks for her reset and eventually gets it to Faye. Faye, far sideline. Opie strikes downfield. Desmond coming back. And this flow from the Americans looks unstoppable. Jorgensen to Faye. Sorry, Desmond. I'm getting confused with Faye there, apologies. Desmond with the goal. Now making it 13-3, and we're 2 away from this game ending. The Americans looking pretty unstoppable once they get that flow. Thoughts, Megan?
Well, I think that was a nice offensive possession that the Swiss put together. I think one thing that they could take away from this game is threatening the break side in a more realistic way. Right now we see players receiving the disc in the middle of the field and kind of either turning back the way the disc came from or just looking directly upfield. So they're not forcing their defenders to have to cover as much ground. The American defenders are not as concerned with containing to the break side. And so it just makes the windows smaller and smaller and smaller that the Swiss have to work in. And when they're able to apply that pressure on the resets, force that inside throw that Payne had seen a mile away. So I think, better from the Swiss, but one thing they can take away is really using their pivots, using their fakes, and threatening the break space early so that then America's defense, or whoever their opponents are in the future's defense, has to pay attention to that and respect that.
Oh, and USA with a almost money pull. I think it landed in and rolled. Did it land in and roll? Did it hit the line? Oh, from here it looked in, but the players are bricking, so it must have landed out. This with Jenny Iodice. Gets it to her club teammate, Claudia Strella. Oh, and Iodice gonna have to get that back. Will she bid? Oh, just too far. Nazarov didn't want to get involved there. I think she was trying to avoid contact and injury, but the disc was just too far, luckily. For Team USA now back on offense. Slattery to Titcomb. Titcomb gets it to the far sideline, but gets it straight back. Titcomb here, the rock of this offense. All the way onto the sideline with Nazarov, who just moves straight into the next throw. Slattery setting up that continuation wonderfully. Nazarov in space and time. All the way across to Titcomb. Titcomb looks inside, but resets to Nazarov. Another break. Sadler straight back to Slattery, who keeps this offense moving. Once again, another brid. Oh, and inside there for Mira Walker. One more point of seamlessly easy offense for Team USA.
I'm going to argue with you a little bit just based on the two layouts there. I think that's better from the Swiss to create that pressure, force the disc into the hands of some of Team USA's less elite players, elite throwers, and having some discs come out that players having to make big bids for. If they don't come up with that, if they're a different team, that's a turnover. So I think better pressure from the Swiss here, but just not enough. Americans too strong, too athletic, nice composure near the end zone.
Okay, men minuten terug. De klok aan de stem. 9 minuten terug. Wat is niet terug? Dat zou die terug maken. Ik heb het gemaakt. Yes, Reed! Yes, Reed! Hans Reed! Come on, Red! Red! Yes, Reed!
So on the far pitch, we got Canada versus Russia at the moment, 5-3 to Canada in the last women's quarterfinal. But we're staying with the USA-Switzerland game until the end, and then we will probably move on to Canada-Russia.
So Galland on the disc in the center, finds Rancor. Rancor to Yannick Galland, and unable to complete that pass. Now USA potentially can score to win the game. Tonnell picks up. Stays upfield for a while. Eventually, unfortunately, Cardenas unable to keep hold of that disc. So Switzerland looking to hold on to this game. A nice inside break. Eventually finding some rhythm here. Koshlin, 10 yards out. And eventually finding Constance Rancourt streaking into that far side corner. And Switzerland hold their offense for only the second or third time this game, 14-4.
The American on the mark there just gets a little bit too concerned about the dump, trying to help out, wrap around the mark, and frees up that backside, allows Rancourt to just squeak in there, and allowing Swiss to continue playing in this quarterfinal matchup. And we'll see USA's O-line, excuse me, not O-line. We'll see the pod that's up in the rotation to see if they can score this hold and take US into the semifinals here at the World Ultimate Championships.
We're just having a look at weather radar. There's a huge cloud coming up from France right now, going over the English Channel. We're getting a few specks of rain here at the moment, but that cloud should reach us in a couple of hours. So bear with us.
Also a word to any spectators who are wishing to come, please do not come to the venue. We're trying to conserve the fields and walkways. The same for players who aren't necessarily playing in any games today. Please be free to watch the stream and keep an eye on Twitter, but do not come to the venue unless instructed to do so. America breaking through this Swiss zone. And a bit of a mixer. Oh! 4 players crossing paths. Sarah Griffiths gets a hand to it, but unable to bring that one down.
Yeah, it's kind of a scary pass from Sarah Ancio. Unclear whether she was looking for Desmond or Griffith, but they're both coming in at opposite angles. Really lucky that no one came out of that worse for the wear.
Yeah, and both of them unable to see the other. It could very well have ended in a clatter, but they're very lucky. Ancio, though, brings down that misplaced disc by Switzerland. Chastain, Tennell, back to Chastain. A lot of movement here by the USA, keeping this disc flowing. Ancio now, pinned on this sideline, but gets it back out to Tennell. Swings it to Payne. Payne instantly taking on the option. And Claire Desmond finishes this game off, emphatically winning the game for USA in the quarterfinal, 15-4. Through to the semi-finals later on this weekend.
So perhaps not a surprising result or the closest game, but still well fought by this USA squad here. Very few turnovers, lots of great D pressure, and then 1 possession score. So they should feel pretty good about this game, feel good about the momentum and the chemistry they've created as they head into the next round, Final Four. Here we're going to hear a little bit from Felix about his thoughts on the game, and then we're going to figure out what our streaming schedule is for the rest of the day.
So I like that last point, the athleticism from Opie Payne. She used that athleticism to jump high to get the crab catch on the disc, rather than just stretching up for the crab catch, making it safe, keeping her balance then so she's able to then release just a second after she lands, get the disc nice and flat, chest height, for the winning score to Desmond. That can be one of the places where athleticism makes a difference. It's not just speed and agility, but being able to make those catches safe, being able to go straight into the throw after making the catch because you positioned your body correctly. Really strong play from USA overall in this game. They showed they've got lots of stuff on offense. They weren't really pressured in any strategical way. Switzerland were unable to find a weakness in the USA's offense, whereas USA were able to find the defense that worked against Switzerland and then persist with that. So a convincing win for USA. They will be confident going into the semis. Switzerland will hopefully be able to get their heads up, be glad that they scored 4 points, and they'll be heading for 5th place now here at the World Championships.
Thanks, Felix. We'll just give you a quick score update for the Canada-Russia quarterfinal. 6-3, to Canada, I believe. And we're about to get a few more games on this pitch. Currently, I can only see Team Canada open. I don't really know where the other team is that they're playing, but please stay tuned in. The live stream will continue for the rest of the day here at the World Ultimate Championships.
Should we cut or continue? We can't talk about it when we're so we can't go any further. Okay.
If you concentrate, you can see what's going on.
We are going to try and continue commentating here on the far pitch. It's currently 6-5 to the Canadians. Looks like Russia will be on defense and Canada on offense.
So I'll be really curious to check in with Evan Lepler, who's been watching that game, whether or not it just has been incredibly messy on either side, or if there's just been a lot of great defense by either squad. As we wrapped up a quick game here between the U.S. and the Swiss, we're still not even yet into halftime in the other women's quarterfinal. Canadians now on offense. That's Pleshikov shooting deep. Finds her receiver and Kate Wary and stretching it out. Oh, and the huge layout score. That's Catherine Hui, number 90 for Canada Women's. Just a 4-pass hold for their O-line. That takes them up 7-3 within 1 point of half. And we'll check in about where the time cap is. 15 score, and as you may have noticed from the stream, the rain has just started to come down now. A little bit of a drizzle. We've got Casper, our cameraman, up with his umbrella, and we may retreat a little bit under the tent. Oh, never mind. An umbrella has been spotted. So we're going to stay out and try to bring you the closing moments of this Canada-Russia women's quarterfinal. Apologize to those watching from Russia. We don't have a roster sheet for that game, so we are calling out the play-by-play on the Canadian players based on our knowledge of them. We will not be able to do the same justice to the Russian squad, and we apologize for that. They're taking down the pull there, centering pass to Russia in white. Kind of a straight-up force from Canada. Oh, and a low throw, diving catch by number 17. Can't complete the possession. This is Canada's chance for half. That's Moens walking to the disc. But tightly marked, can't get it off the sidelines. That's Terry Whitehead providing some release of pressure up the sideline. Oh, and despite the bid from Kira Frew, it's a turnover for Canada, as you can tell it's starting to get a little bit wet out there.
Yeah, the rain is getting a bit heavier now. We don't know how long this spell is going to last, but that's going to make the disc slippy, unexpectedly slippy. Those players with gloves may have an advantage. I can see the Canadian handler there, the Russian handler there, sorry. Oh, and a point block looked like on the hook. Canada shutting it down right at the source. Ryan Bowlby.
And thanks to our own David Price for having rounded up some rosters for us. So we're going to attempt to do a little play-by-play from one field over. Canada with the disc now. It's Moens on the sideline. Oh, and a diving layout from Russia is going to give them the disc back. That's number 69, Pustevaya. So second chance for Russia's O-line this point. Good pressure from Canada. Little break up this sideline. Oh, and a looping pass to the far side of the field. Is it caught? The layout brings the disc in. Maintaining possession. Still not gaining much yardage, though, for this Russian team. And they get a little antsy, shoot deep. That IO catches the wind and sails out wide.
Yeah, they got some yards with that throw, though, so they'll have big field to try and get a defensive interception back on Canada. Canada having to they've made a long pass there. That's a good 20-25 yards. And another long pass. It's got both players underneath it. Oh, great D. Great athleticism at the end there to get the read with pressure, probably shoulder to shoulder, and getting up and knocking the disc out of reach.
That was Alex Benedict shooting deep for Guignon Thomas, but number 23 on the Russia squad, Kochanova, comes up big with that block. Russia looking for a third attempt to go the length of the field on this offensive possession.
Just so you folks can home and can plan the rest of your day. The next round, which will be at 3:30, so we've got a while, will be Germany-Canada men's quarter on this pitch here, pitch 4, and then Australia-Japan will be the mixed quarter on the other pitch on the other side. But currently we have the Russia-Canada women's quarterfinal continuing on pitch 5. Sorry.
On a pass floating over the top, defenders all in the area. That disc tipped and brought down by Grignon Thomas of Canada.
Really great presence of mind there by the Russian defender to be able to jump going backwards, but to be sure of getting the disc. Quite often in that position you can be too scared of fouling the other players to make a proper bid on the disc and you just miss it and it goes into their hands. But she committed to it, got up, got fingertips, and didn't foul the Canadian players. Great defense from Russia. Great bid from Russia on the catch. Great bid from Russia. Pass just too far for a Canadian receiver there. Again, Russia with big field having to work. They're going to have to work the disc. A good 65 yards. 60 yards to get it back towards the end zone. We'll see whether they opt to go for long passes or short passes. The rain has actually stopped again now. It being England, it can change any second. But the disc will be wet, having been on the grass now. She doesn't take the time to dry it.
Up the field now in traffic. Russia on the move. Nice little flip pass to Pustovaya. Shooting across the field, finds the far sideline. And handlers trailing the play a little bit. Back to Pustovaya in the middle. And a pick is called at field. Well, I think we're getting a little sense of why this game was taking so long. Both teams being really aggressive, taking deep shots. They seem, from our vantage point, kind of evenly matched in terms of height and speed and athleticism. So both a good battle, and perhaps not the cleanest play out of this, still in the first half of the second women's quarterfinal game.
I think it started late. Yeah, I think they just put them in when the next game, when the last game finishes.
Crossfield swing is caught by number 91, Tizik.
Great layout there. Great bid again. So in these kind of conditions, it's when you're in this position walking to pick up the disc, it can be worth sacrificing the first few seconds of the stall just to dry the disc on your t-shirt. It really helps teammates out with their catches and subsequent throws to have the moisture off that disc. Otherwise, we'll see plenty of errors slipping in as slippery sidearms flop to the floor. Layouts are that much harder when you don't have the grip at the final grab on the disc.
So back in play, Canada looking for a break into half. Finds Bowlby in the middle, out to Frew. He's got receivers downfield but can't find them. Stall rising, looks like there's going to be a foul on the mark. Just back in play. Frew hits it IO to Bowlby, can't find the continue. And now her throw is popped up. Oh, but Benedict able to find it on the second attempt. Wanted that backhand. Can't find it. Out to Grignon Tomas. Back to Bowlby. Good pressure from the Russians. Can she find Benedict? Oh, it's over her head, but Rianne Bowlby trailing the play. Finds that goal.
Really nice catch there from Bowlby. She's right-handed, but she had to run and then get low with her left hand to make that grab. That's something that you need to practice to be good at. So she's clearly put in the hours. Practice catching with both hands. Makes all the difference at this level. Can reel in that throw. Not sure if she was the intended receiver, but managed to get to the disc, reading it well, and then have the athleticism and the coordination to get down low with her offhand to make that catch. Great score for Canada.
So that will take that game into halftime out on pitch 5. If you'll see in front of you, we've actually got Canada men's and Germany men's warming up on pitch 4. We're going live with that stream of that game in about 15 minutes. So stay with us.
Okay, we are back. Watching Russia versus Canada women's quarterfinal. A little bit further away than we'd like to be, but we will make do with what we're able to do in these conditions. Looks like Russia got the disc shooting from right to left against the Canadian defense. Score looks to be 8-6, 9-6. Russia passing it onto the far sideline. Looking for that swing, but the Canadian defense shutting it out. And there's a foul called, I think, with the cutters downfield. Probably very tight Canadian defense, just a little bit too much contact that Russia's happy with. Yeah, we think the score is 8-4 to Canada. So Russia looking to get the first one in after the half. That dump marked out again. Really good pressure from the Canadians. And there we see the dump pass go up. And it's complete. Swing right across to the far side. Here's a good scoring opportunity, but Canada knows it as well. And they're right. Unable to get down to make the catch in time. Canada picking the disc up now, bringing it onto the front cone. The wind slightly going from right to left on your screen, so it's not a nice corner to be in. Looks like a foul on the mark, uncontested. Game advisor there with the hand signals, making that clear to us. So disc back in play. Advances up the sideline. Russia with half a bid there. Good, she pulled out of it in the end. Oh, and there we go, Russia with the full-on bid, knocking the disc down. Now they got a short field to work with here. Try and put this point in. Swinging across to the far side. And that's a great pass, leading the defender leading the cutter into the end zone. Russia with 5 points now to Canada's 8.
And we apologize, we're not going to be able to catch the end of this game because we are going to be moving to this men's game on the near pitch on the stream, but we will try to find a way to get you an update in case you've been following along with the Canada-Russia women's quarterfinal.
Yeah, the pitches here being used very ad hoc, so when a game finishes and the other teams come on, they start warming up and playing. Not playing to any strict schedule, it seems. Just starting the games whenever they're able to. No spectators or volunteers permitted on these fields, just to preserve them. You can see maybe in the middle between these two pitches it's getting very muddy already, so all the organisation doing everything they can to make the full week of the tournament enjoyable for everybody. Sometimes that does mean maybe upsetting some spectators, some volunteers by denying them access to these fields. But we have this stream bringing the action to you. Hopefully you are enjoying it. It's Felix Chardlow with Megan Moltani. And Canada have the disc, working it from right to left. Long throw up. That's a nice one right in front of the receiver. Can catch it in stride. Just outside the end zone. Passes it in. Nice easy score for Canada there. Russia with their heads down a little, knowing that they didn't put on the pressure they should have done in that point. Canada making it look a bit easy.
It's a nice little pull play set up by Canada, finding Pleshikov shooting deep for streaking Laura Mason, and Kate Wary just finishes off the play, all open side, all undefended. Not going to be good enough from Russia. We've seen them apply the pressure. We've seen some huge layout Ds from them, but that point just kind of a lapse in kind of the fundamentals of open side defense gives Canada the easy hold.
If you allow the Canadians a few yards deep, they will streak and they will put that disc out in front to catch it in stride. Do you want to get a crowd over there in that little hedge gap?
What?
Are you able to get the crowd in the little hedge gap?
Oh yeah.
Looks interesting.
Here we go.
So there's looks to be a crowd huddling under the tree between the hedges in the far corner over there. I know there was a couple of schools here earlier. I don't know whether those are the school kids or maybe some spectators who are, that's a public footpath over there, so not allowed on the field, but getting any vantage point they can. As Russia have the disc now, working from right to left against the Canadian zone, it looks like. Or no, just poaching off the handlers, just for the beginning, stopping any pool play. Swinging the disc into the middle now. Oh, and slight overthrow. Just trying to get the inside out backhand to lead the receiver, but a little bit too much angle when it drops away. This goes up in the end zone, and there we go. Canada with another score. Russian heads down again. We think it's 10-5 now to Canada in that quarterfinal.
And so if you're joining us and you're interested in watching the men's quarterfinal between Germany and Canada, you're going to need to refresh your stream as we're going to be changing over our feed. So make sure that you do that as we get started with this game here in just a moment.
Catch it early. Help us teach kids about cancer symptoms through Ultimate Frisbee clinics. Join us and speak up.